Present.
Ms. Myers,
Present.
Mr. Peters,
Here.
Dr. Rosello,
Present.
Mr. Kazire,
Present.
Mr. Tripp.
Here. If you would all rise and join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First up, we have approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Move approval of our agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of the minutes for the workshop business meeting and annual meetings of November 12th, 2024. Is there a motion?
I move for the approval of the minutes from the work session at workshop/business meeting and annual meeting of November 12th, 2024 to be approved as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Any discussion regarding the minutes? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, that brings us to public participation. This is an opportunity for members of the public to come speak about any agenda item or anything other than that. I do not have any notice from the public. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to come address the board tonight? Seeing as there is none, we will move right along to our superintendent's report. Dr. Murillo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Tripp. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Comine to the podium. We have some very special students that we want to celebrate their success in the work. And so, Ms. Comine, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Murillo. We do. We have a lot of STAR students here tonight. It looks like we have a lot of family here, so that's wonderful. So Dr. Murillo and President Tripp, would you please join me at the front? Okay, to start off, we have a Thomas Jefferson's robotics team, and I'm going to name the team members so they can come up to the front, and then I'm going to share some information about them. So there is a 2501 Robo Turtles team, and it consists of team members Anson Heineck, Kaylee Ramirez, Samuel Nichols, and Brody Vermelia.
Picture of him when he was in seventh grade.
So this fabulous team was invited to compete in the Oriental Land Cup International Invitational Robotics Tournament in Shanghai, China. They were awarded the Create Award and the Award of Excellence. The Excellence Award is the highest award presented in the VEX Robotics competition. This award is presented to a team that exemplifies overall excellence in building a high-quality robotics program. The Create Award is presented to a team whose robot design incorporates a creative engineering solution to the design challenges of this season's game. This team, 2501, earned their Create Award due to their unique approach to scoring rings on the wall stakes. They used an internal hook that moves the rings from a conveyor belt to the stake in one fluid motion. This saves time and reduces the size of the internal parts of the robot. This also makes it faster with less room for mistakes, and we are very proud of this accomplishment as well as your ability to fundraise over $6,000 in less than a month. Our donors included Tyson Foods, Johnston Supply, Woodhouse, and the Vermelia family. The team is coached by Shannon Dunlap and Andrea Galloway. Excellent job.
I would like to hear from one of them. Go to Jen up too. Okay, okay. Because to have students that went to China to compete is a pretty big thing, big deal, right? So I'd love to hear from the student voice what that felt like and the experience that they had. All I heard was it was pretty cool.
I think the microphone would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a picture with her? Not yet. Okay, let's do a picture one time, then he can talk to her. Great, all right. Who's talking? Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your experience.
So to start off with, when we got there, it was just a really, really big cultural shock. Like, everybody does so many things different than you. And like, for example, Anson, he went to buy chocolate, which may or may not have been like $70. And we got over that pretty quickly. But, so, like the actual tournament itself, it was really fun. It was nice seeing people from all over the world. We had a team from Mount Michael, yeah, further up in Iowa, I think, right? Or Nebraska. But all in all, it was a really fun trip. Really nice seeing a different culture like that.
Kaylee's here.
Oh, Kaylee's here. Our other teammate.
Yeah, please do. If I could. I'll go around this way.
So I just want to point out that Kaylee Ramirez is here. One of the most important awards at any competition has a lot to do with how you explain your robot design. And this team has a phenomenal engineering notebook. All the kids have a huge influence in that notebook, but almost brings me to tears how proud of Kaylee I am and all of the work that she's put into generating an absolutely fantastic engineering notebook. And you do not achieve excellence at any competition without a superior notebook. So thank you, Kaylee.
Yes, can we do a new picture with him here? Congratulations. Moving around, aren't we?
Yes, that's.
I just wanted to show you that I've been following that.
Next, we have our Thomas Jefferson esports team. They qualified for the state tournament in Marshalltown, Iowa on November 21st, finishing an undefeated season 7-0 in Rainbow Six Siege and seeded first in the 2A division. They lost a tough match to the 4th seed Muscatine and wound up in 4th place in the state of Iowa out of 12 schools who qualified. The team members are Captain Tyson McCormick, Carlos Sibiza, Zach Calloway, Caleb Hansen, Caleb Fitzpatrick, and Eric Rimmon. And this fabulous team is coached by Jules Worrell.
I saw the yellow for a second. I thought maybe he was squirting the.
No, it's Chiefs.
Are the coaches here tonight?
Okay, can you see us all? Okay. Is that better? Competing. Third year, 4th in state.
Thank you and congratulations. Next, we have a number of academic all-state star students. First, from Thomas Jefferson High School, Jaden Mulligan. Jaden is a multi-sport athlete at Thomas Jefferson High School, having played football, baseball, track, and field. He holds a 3.81 cumulative GPA and was named a unanimous 4A academic all-state honoree by the Iowa Football Coaches Association. His Diploma Plus One pathway is in Trade Works at Iowa Western Community College. So congratulations, Jaden. Next, we have our academic all-state earners from Abraham Lincoln High School. First is Trenton Tallman. Trent was selected for the Distinguished Academic Achievement Award in 5A by the Iowa Football Coaches Association. The award is given for having a 3.25 through 4.0 GPA, with Trent earning a 3.5 GPA. Trent is a member of the football, bowling, and track and field teams at Abraham Lincoln High School. Congratulations, Trent. Next is Brady Watts. Brady was selected for the Distinguished Academic Achievement Award in 5A by the Iowa Football Coaches Association for earning a 3.59 GPA. Brady is a member of the football and soccer teams at Abraham Lincoln High School, as well as being involved in DECA and competing at state competitions. Congratulations, Brady. Next is Isaiah Lusaho. Isaiah was selected for the Distinguished Academic Achievement Award in 5A by the Iowa Football Coaches Association, earning a 3.95 GPA. In addition to football, Isaiah is the president of the National Honor Society. He is a member of student government, the robotics team, and is pursuing an opportunity to play football at the next level. Congratulations, Isaiah. And this next student is not able to be here tonight because he is playing a basketball game in Sioux City, Iowa, but it is Aiden Sandbooth. Aiden was selected for the Distinguished Academic Achievement Award in 5A by the Iowa Football Coaches Association for earning a 3.68 GPA. Aiden is a member of the football, basketball, and track teams at Abraham Lincoln High School, and he is currently committed to Midland University to play basketball. Congratulations.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Next, we would like to recognize our Employees of the Month, starting with our Teacher of the Month. This month, we have Mrs. Heidi Stagel from Hoover Elementary, special education teacher. Mrs. Stagel is the epitome of a hard worker who is always willing to pitch in and adjust her schedule to help the students and teachers do what is best for students and what is needed in the moment. She always has a smile on her face and is bubbly and makes school a fun place to be for both the adults and students. She's helpful and generous with both students and colleagues, showing patience and compassion. She is a rock star. Congratulations, Mrs. Stagel.
Yeah, okay. I just assumed what you were.
Next, we have our Staff Member of the Month, Angel Baskew, Early Learning Center Preschool Teaching Assistant. While Angel is new to the ELC this year, she's been in our district for 16 years, also as a special education specialized para. She has quickly become a valuable team member at the ELC. She is always willing to help, has a great attitude no matter how hard the day has been, and is eager to learn more to support her colleagues and her students in her current position. We are so lucky to have her at the ELC. Congratulations, Angel.
And will you take pictures of groups outside? Do the students know that?
He's been trying to tell him, yeah.
Okay, great, because he's going to take more pictures of our students and staff outside. So congratulations again.
Another big congratulations to our students and staff. Keep up the fantastic work.
Just sitting there, it feels good.
They're probably just like, okay, well, there it is. And then they go, oh my God. Guess that's how you walk away. Just doing the math real quick. And that was not.
It should be on.
This better be.
I was afraid I'm gonna like cough or something.
All right, that brings us to the next portion of our meeting. We will have a reflection from the board on the 2024 IASB Annual Convention. This is a convention that the board does attend regularly, yearly, as that matters, Iowa School Board Association. And it's 2 days worth of learning and continuing ed credits for our board to ensure that we are the best board we can be, representing both our staff, students, and community. So I will open the floor up to the board, and we'll kind of go down the line, starting at maybe Mr. Kozire this time, since Ms. Greiner had this hot seat last time. And just let the public know how it went and what your thoughts were.
Well, it was a great event. We were one of 6 districts that all board members received the Better Board Award. So that's reflective of each one of us meeting the 15 hours of continuing education. So I was very humbled by my colleagues and the work that they've inspired me to log my hours, which I hadn't done too much in the past. But I think the biggest thing that I took from the convention is that we've got a lot of work to do, and that work is basically around how we identify and support those students of poverty, and that was the big focus of the convention. And when one of the keynote speakers is a person of poverty, but rose through that and is able to accomplish a lot, gives me hope that we have a big task in front of us, but we can rise to the occasion and lift all of our students up and support them in all the ways that we are capable of doing. So that was very inspiring to hear from Dr. Beagle. So.
I'll also recognize Mr. Kozire, because we came out of that session, we're standing there, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to go at it again. Like, he was all rejuvenated from that session. She was very motivational. Just a great attitude from what she had accomplished. And I think also helped us recognize some of the barriers that might be in place that we were not able to recognize, that maybe we can help remove for our students. And that was really, all the speakers were wonderful. I bought all 3 of their books. I'm really excited for Christmas time to read them. So it was.
Did you participate in that one activity that she?
Yes, there was an
Talk about
activity.
that. Could you talk about
There was an activity, and ideally, we would have all been in a straight line, but because there were so many of us in this session, and if you're at the Iowa Events Center, it's in the corridor. And so for differing things, you take steps forwards or step back. If you'd ever had your utility shut off, if your parent had graduated from college, if you had ever been evicted, there was just a whole list of things. You took steps back and forward. And if you know how long the corridor is and where we were at in the grouping, there was a good spread of people who were all the way to one end and then some all the way back. So you could really see the different barriers that people had overcome, and what makes your lives easier and what makes them more difficult. And they might not be things that you think about. So she was fantastic.
It's kind of hard to follow that. Oh man. I personally, I thought as my other board colleagues have mentioned, that that presentation, the keynote on putting a poverty lens on what we do as school board members and as members of the school district is very important. It's that was, I think one of the pieces of it that really kind of made me a little proud of our district and everything is one of the example sorts of policies that kind of came out of that was possibly free school lunches across the board, not just a free and reduced lunch program, because that does tend to kind of separate, children who qualify as being kind of an other of that. But this really is an all-encompassing sort of program, which is something that we already do, which I'm very happy about. Yeah, the conference every year is always fantastic. It's always really interesting to get to talk to other board members and superintendents from other districts and find out what they're doing, that what everyone is collectively doing that is working and isn't working. Another highlight for me that made me very proud of my district, our district of Council Bluffs, is the presentation actually that our school district got to do on student-focused board meetings and keeping all of our policies and all of our everything that we do focused on student and student achievement, which was just always great to see. I shared this with Dr. Murillo earlier, but the last day they had a board president and vice president workshop that I got to attend, and I had 4 different board members come to me specifically because of that presentation and say, how can we, what are you guys doing as far as school improvement plans? How can we do that? And so it was just really cool to get that sort of positive recognition from something that we're doing here in Council Bluffs. So it was cool.
I could definitely talk about Donna Beagle for a very long time. I think all of us can. So I want to share a couple, a breakout session and then another session I think most of us attended. But Mrs. Hardiman, who's not here, we both went to Overcoming School Tragedies, which was with the administration from Perry Schools. And it really honed in the work that we're doing in our schools of being trauma-informed, having our safety plans, and if they drove in a lot about it's not a matter of if, but when it's going to happen. So just confronting that conversation and making sure that we're here for not only our students, but our staff and our communities. So that was a very moving and very important breakout session we went to. And it was just really interesting to hear things that you don't even think of that happen after tragedies. Of course, it's the emotional support, but it's also things such as having new staff there to meet people where they're at. They've adjusted their school day times because they said, why not? Be there for, just be there for people. Don't question this is how it always has been. Why not? Let's just do it this way until we're all better together and get better, which was very sweet to hear about. And then I also got to attend one of our sessions on the first day about generative AI. And we've been doing a lot of talk about artificial intelligence and incorporating it in our district and confronting it. And there were a lot of other districts that haven't even thought about it. They're just shying away from it. And our district was shouted out as being somebody at the forefront and kind of setting the standards, which was really great to hear. And the speaker called and asked any of us if we've talked about it. And I'm like, hey, we have, things that we've approved. We brought in people. We've had our work group. And the speaker was like, it wasn't even planned for me to call on you. So it was really great to share that. And we got to be interactive with AI, which was really interesting to see how other districts, were a little scared to do it. We learned about different platforms that I haven't heard about, but also students and what they think about it, but then also how biased it can be, and just kind of honing in, kind of like we've talked about with that poverty-informed lens. What are our biases? How are we going to be there for our students that are most at risk and need a lot of help? And the other session that we attended was Anthony Muhammad talking about transforming school culture. And it was just, I think, a solidifier of the things that we're doing in our schools. Great, because he showed this example that has stuck in my mind, and I think maybe most of yours, about two schools down the street in the same district and just the different expectations they have, and the outcomes are completely different, stark differences with their students. And it was just really, again, like I said, a validator of look what we're doing across the board in our district to help all students, and just not make ones have different outcomes than the other. And I'm sure there was more at the general session, which I missed, but I heard that was amazing too, that he spoke more about. But those were the three, in addition to Donna's great workshops we attended, that just really stood out to me. And then other than education, I love just this bonding more as a board, just to better our governance and being here for our district.
Okay, I want to start by thanking the district and the public for allowing us to go to this convention. It's always a great time, and I really enjoy how we almost always pick different sessions to go to, and we kind of, talk about what we learned at each one. I think that's really inspiring. This year I went to Finance 201. I graduated 101, so. And I really liked that our district's unspent authorized budget ratio is in the best category again. So that's really exciting. I walked away with more knowledge about how our general fund is spent, and it was just a really good time to kind of bring into some clarity things that are a little fuzzy, but I enjoyed that. I was going to talk about Donna Beagle, but you guys have all covered it. The one thing that I did like, I take a lot of notes, and one of the quotes she said was, "With no expectations, kids will not exceed them." And I'm thankful for our district to have high expectations of all students. That always hits home. I also went to Transforming School Culture definition. In that session, he shared the definition of a healthy school culture, and I wrote that down because you'll see. Okay, it says, a healthy school culture. Educators have an unwavering belief in the ability of all students to achieve success, and they pass that belief on to others in overt and covert ways. Educators create policies and procedures and adopt practices that support their belief in the ability of every student. And if you've been watching our meetings or you've attended, that's almost always talked about, is setting high expectations, and everyone has the unwavering belief that all students can succeed. So I always find myself excited and refreshed and reassured that our district is moving our students towards success. And it's always a big picture, and kind of what Tracy said, that Dave walked out and he was refreshed and wanted to get going, and that's how I feel too. Just kind of a realignment of our priorities and why we do this. So I always appreciate the dedication of all of our board members and a chance to learn collectively. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, board. Unfortunately, my day job got in the way, and I was out of town, so I was unable to attend this year. It's the first in 3 years. I've done 3 in a row, and this is my last year for this term, and I was unable to make it, and it sounds like it was a fantastic time, both professionally and personally, getting together with all of you guys and learning more about each other and the way you're wanting to drive our district, knowing that we're all on the same page where that's going. We're all student-focused 100% and looking out for the best. So to the public, again, thank you. Like Ms. Greiner said, we appreciate the opportunity to be able to go to this convention yearly. It's a big deal. We get a lot out of it, not just learning more about the specifics of being a board member, but also with the keynote speakers and the breakout sessions, we get a different viewpoint. This one seems like it had a big time lens on poverty, just to remember that there's a lot of differences with kids in poverty versus kids that aren't, and we do experience that here at our school, that we have to take that into consideration. So just another thing that we are able to use to be a better board for you. So thank you again for that. All right, moving on. Next we have student achievement.
There we go. I'd like to invite Ms. Comine to the podium tonight. Ms. Comine is going to present on post-secondary readiness indicators. And there's some new learning that'll take place tonight because the state has changed, I'd say, some definitions and even created a new kind of graphic for us to see around post-secondary and what that looks like. So excited for the presentation. I really felt like it's a good space and time for the board to kind of continue to learn as the state continues to change. We hope to always keep you guys in the know and having a good base knowledge of what changes are taking place. So Ms. Comine, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Murillo, and thank you, President Tripp and members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to provide an update and share information with you regarding changes to work-based learning in the state of Iowa, and also as a new post-secondary readiness indicator on the Iowa School Performance Profile. There are 4 focus areas we will cover tonight. The first one is the alignment of work-based learning to District Strategic Goal 2, which guarantees each student is future ready. The second one is you'll have the opportunity to learn about the new ESSA Iowa School Performance Profile in the area of post-secondary readiness. ESSA stands for the Every Student Succeeds Act, and it is a federal law that governs K-12 education, and it is a significant piece of legislation. You will also have the opportunity to understand new Senate File 2411. It has changed the definition of work-based learning in the state of Iowa. It also has an impact on our state reporting and the Iowa School Performance Profile. Senate File 2411 was signed into Iowa law last May, towards the end of May of 2024. And then the fourth area is to learn about our district strategy to embed work-based learning in our academic programs to meet the work-based learning definition and state reporting requirements on the ESSA Iowa School Performance Profile. So to start, you are aware that District Strategic Goal 2 measures the percentage of students who graduate with a high school diploma and a second credential. And on the bar graph on the left, you can see our trend data for the past 4 years. If you look at the table on the right, it shares our work-based learning experiences and total number of students impacted, and they are all aligned to our Diploma +1 pathways. It's important for you to know that we've been really intentional in embedding these work-based learning experiences into our pathways, and we also know that work-based learning has 3 critical components that supports the student's overall experience. It, 1, ensures a high-quality academic preparation. It's 2, a partnership between education and industry. And then 3, it also provides academic follow-up through a variety of reflection activities. And then, of course, you know that students learn and apply the necessary and needed professional and soft skills to be successful in the work environment. And as you can see, the total number of experiences an individuals impacted has grown considerably over the past 3 years. You may be wondering why the total number of experiences is higher than the total number of individuals impacted. That is because some of our students took advantage of more than one opportunity. They've had more than one experience. This slide shows the difference between the old system and the new system on the ESSA Iowa School Performance Profile, specifically changes at the high school level. What I want you to recognize is both of them have post-secondary readiness as part of the system. The first change is the weighting or the percentage of points allocated toward the overall score. You can see that in the old system, it was 8% weighted towards the overall score, and in the new system, it's 11.1% or 100 out of 900 points. What is different is the definition. The post-readiness definition within the old system is very different than the new system. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Within the old system, there were 4 indicators. The first was ACT or SAT participation. The second one was success on the ACT or SAT. The third one is students taking college-level coursework or earning college credit in high school. And the fourth indicator were CTE concentrators. If we take a look at the new system, there are 3 post-secondary readiness indicators. The first one is the percentage of students that obtain college credit while in high school. The second one is the percentage of students in a work-based learning experience with the updated definition of work-based learning that I will share a little bit later. And then the third indicator is the percentage of students who earn an industry-recognized credential. So let's go ahead and unpack each of those 3 new indicators. The first one is post-secondary credit, and students who earn post-secondary credit or college credit in high school can do that in 2 ways. They can take concurrent enrollment courses. They can also pass the AP assessment with a score of 3 or higher. In order for work-based learning to count towards the Iowa School Performance Profile, you can see that new Senate File 2411 identifies what counts. And I'll share the definition of 2411 here pretty soon. But the only things that count towards work-based learning are these specific types of work-based learning embedded opportunities. And then if we look at the IRCs, which is industry recognized credentials, this is the third post-secondary readiness. The state and the Department of Education is utilizing a national definition, which is an industry recognized credential as a certification that has been widely acknowledged as holding value within a specific industry or field. An example of an IRC that we offer in our district is when students participate in TradeWorks 1, they earn the certification of an OSHA 10. An important piece with the IRCs is that in order for the industry recognized credential to count towards the Iowa School Performance Profile for each of our high schools, the IRC must be on the state approved list. That list is not all inclusive. They started with a list. We have the list. We have also been told that there's going to be an application window where districts can complete an application, submit it to the Department of Education for consideration, and if it's approved, it will go on that state approved list. We do plan to submit applications as well as many other districts across the state. So now let's delve into work-based learning a little closer. So let's take a look at what work-based learning looked like and what the definition or the previous definition was, and then we'll take a look at the current definition. So if you take a look at the left, the previous definition was work-based learning includes a continuum of structured educational activities utilizing the partnership between industry and education to engage student learning. The structured or the continuum of structured educational activities is what the graphic shows you. Students who are introduced to careers, that's the awareness phase. And after students have received awareness, they can move over to the exploration phase where they investigate careers. From there, they can move over to the preparation to prepare for careers. And then finally, that final stage of the continuum is develop career skills through training. If you take a look at the graphic on the right, you can see that new Senate File 2411 has developed a new term in the state of Iowa. It's called Iowa Career Connected Learning. And Iowa Career Connected Learning is an umbrella term that incorporates both career exploration and work-based learning. So the top of the graphic is the career exploration, which is being referred to learning about work. And then the bottom is the new work-based learning definition, which is working to learn. So let's delve into how the old or the previous definition is transferring over to the current definition. So at the top again, we have the career exploration of the new definition. And you can see on the right the pieces of the old continuum of structured activities, where awareness, exploration, and preparation are now being considered as career exploration or learning how to work. I do want you to notice the last one on preparation for the career exploration. It is a school-based enterprise. If a student or students participate in a school-based enterprise and there is no industry recognized credential attached, it counts as career exploration. Now, if we move to the bottom part, which is the work-based learning, you can see that there's also a school-based enterprise. And if that school-based enterprise consists of an industry recognized credential on the state approved list, now it is considered to be a work-based learning experience. And then, of course, the training pieces of the internships, pre-apprenticeships, and apprenticeships are also now work-based learning, as they always have been. The Department of Ed did introduce a new term for work-based learning, and it is the student learner and sustained authentic projects. And that is new, and that is when a teacher within their course partners with industry partners, and they have an ongoing and sustained project that they're working with students on. That would be considered work-based learning as well. So this is what matches the definition of work-based learning according to Senate File 2411, and it is also where we receive our post-secondary readiness index score on the Iowa School Performance Profile. So let's take a look at the state reporting. This is a screenshot of what our state reporting looks like this year. What I want you to notice is on the left, lines 11 through 16 are work-based learning lines. They've never existed before. So these are the new lines to help delineate and share data to the state on what counts and how we will be graded on our work-based learning. What's important for you to know and for all of us to understand is that the data they used to give our high schools our performance profile on our post-secondary readiness was data from the 22-23 school year. Well, when we went to do our state reporting in 22-23, lines 11 through 16 did not exist for state reporting. Therefore, our high schools did not receive credit for work-based learning experiences that would have counted, that did happen, because the lines just simply did not exist. And so if they utilize the 22-23 data from this year, next year they're going to use the 23-24 data. And so we are in year one of 2 years where we are going to take a hit on work-based learning data because those lines did not exist in state reporting. Districts have inquired with the Department of Education and asked, can we go back and provide data? We have been told that that is not a possibility. And so us, along with other districts across the state, we're kind of 2 years behind of gaining some of those points we would have had. So now that we have all of this information, what do we do with it? Well, we've developed a strategy. And our strategy is to integrate meaningful work-based learning experiences into each content area and to successfully implement at least one work-based learning activity by the end of the school year. So prior to me talking about the timeline, I do want to give a shout out to everybody in this room, myself, my team, my colleagues and their teams, Dr. Murillo and other people, because we have been doing research. We have been making sure we are keeping up to date with all of the new Iowa laws that were signed into legislation. We've reached out to the Department of Education. We've had webinars. We continue to be on webinars. And so we feel like we have a really good, solid understanding to put the pieces to the puzzle together, where we could start working now with our schools. And so in November, we thought the best place to start was at our Fall Business Advisory Committee meeting. And we did that because of the stakeholders that are part of that meeting. We have our Diploma Plus One and CTE teachers. We have our business industry partners. We have our post-secondary partners, and we also have community partners that sit on the Fall Business Advisory Committee. And at that meeting, we started whole group. We shared information similar to what I'm sharing with you tonight to allow them to wrap their heads around it. And then we always move into a small group session, which is by specific content area, because we have specific stakeholders that go with specific content areas. And so they broke into small groups and they started to have conversation and collaborate with the industry partners to explore potential work-based learning experiences that they could offer or that we can offer our students this year. And so taking all of that information as we move into December, it was actually last Monday, all of our teachers came back together and they took the information that they discussed at the business advisory meeting and they finalized some brainstorming and actually began to design those work-based learning experiences. And then, of course, we always make sure that everything is aligned to our state standards, our student interest, and our career readiness goals. The teachers are coming back together next Monday, so they have an opportunity again next week to start planning. And then next week, some of them will be ready to move into that final planning stage of embedding the work-based learning. And then we're also going to start reaching out to those business industry partners that were part of our November group to finalize that partnership. And then on January 6th, when teachers come back, they will have that morning to solidify these plans, and that will allow us to move into second semester and embed our new work-based learning experiences. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Of the degree, I'm not going to use the right word, our D+1s, what percentage of those aren't on the state list, do we know, or what number?
I do not have a specific.
Is there quite a few?
Number. The list is not very all-inclusive right now.
And I'm sorry, related question. You mentioned there's like a time window to be able to submit the applications. Have they communicated like when that specific time window, like when that opens up, or any specifics on it, or is it still?
No, not specifically, but they have verified that there will be an application window, and that occurred a couple weeks ago with an update.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Also a shout out because that's a really tight time frame and you guys have done a lot of work, so very well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cohen.
Thank you.
Confused.
That blows your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, all the stuff you're doing, we didn't add that yet, so we're not going to allow you to change it.
Even though you've done it, you don't get credit for it.
It's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
And Mr. Kozar, what I push back on is I can understand maybe 1 year in the rear, but not 2.
Yeah.
We should be able
Yeah.
to kind of move from the 22 and jump right over to 24, 25.
Yeah.
Or, there shouldn't be 2 years in the rear. We're all more capable of that, and I'm sure the DE is more capable. To me, it's their easy way out, but it is penalizing when we know the work we're doing. And also, when Ms. Comine was kind about the applications, it was really never told to us that we needed to apply to place them in, and then they shut the application down, so we started making phone calls, and I'm sure other districts did as well, to get that reopened, because it just felt like,
Yeah.
if we just got to work through it.
Yeah.
Excellent. We're moving on. A quick shout out to Mr. Style. 7 o'clock occurred, and there was just a little blip at like 7:05, but fantastic. Nicely done getting that corrected.
7 o'clock gremlins.
Gremlins. Okay. That brings us to our resolutions portion of this evening's meeting. So we will just
It was just a blip.
go through these. First up on the list, appointment of legal counsel. Is there a motion?
I move that the board appoints Allers and Cooney, PC, as outside legal counsel for a 3-year term from 2025 to 2028.
Thank you.
I will second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion from the board? Nope, this is just as a reminder, this is just a renewal. There was a letter of engagement quite a few years back. Every 3 years we renew it. There's no money exchanged for this. It's just an engagement letter, not a whatever you want to call it.
Not
transaction.
contingencies or
No
anything like that.
contingency, anything like that. So, all right, nothing else? Ms. Ostrowski, please call our roll.
Mrs. Greiner.
Yes.
Ms. Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Peters.
Yes.
Mr. Tripp.
Yes.
Dr. Ozello?
Yes.
Mr. Kazire?
Yes.
The motion carries. Next, we have approval of job descriptions. Is there a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors approves the job descriptions for the Chief Legal and Human Resources Officer, Senior Benefits Manager, Senior HR Specialist, Recruitment and Compliance, Senior HR Specialist, Recruitment and Employee Relations, HR Operations Specialist, and HR Systems Specialist. The positions are not new positions, but reflect changes in job duties in current positions.
Thank you.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Dr. Murillo, could you give us an explanation of the
Yes.
changes?
I want to applaud Ms. Foster for the work that she's done on this. She really has, we've talked several times about not backfilling her position, but allowing her the autonomy to redesign human resources department. And that is what she's done. She's met with her employees. I really love that she talks about this provides them that professional growth opportunity instead of just having a ceiling. She's stretching that department and doing some really good work. So again, this is decreasing that department by 1 FTE and just redesigning what that department looks like and with the job titles and responsibilities.
So with the reduction of the FTE, were then salaries adjusted for the other individuals?
There's a I think small adjustments that have happened, but nothing major.
Not whatever we
No.
were.
Oh, no.
Perfect.
No.
Excellent. Any other discussion from the board? Mrs. Straussky, please call our roll.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Dr. Ozello?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mr. Kazire?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mrs. Greiner?
Yes.
And the motion carries. Next up, we have English learners EL instruction beyond 5 years, modified supplemental amount request. Is there a motion?
I move that English learners EL instruction beyond 5 years, the district's administration is authorized to submit a request to the school budget review committee for a modified supplement amount of $188,875 related to the EL program for students who have exceeded 5 years of waiting that are included on the fall 2024 certified enrollment headcount.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Myers, thank you very much. Any further discussion from the board?
It's happening, being submitted to the review committee.
Yes, so when you ask for, this is really something that is kind of Iowa code. So we have to get in front of it. We can't wait to see, did we spend more than what we thought? And right now, this is a budgeted projection. We have increased the number of our ELL learners in that student group. And we have also, with the state allowing students now to stay in a longer period of time, it has caused for us to provide more supports. And so that is the kind of the reason for that $188,000.
Sort of forecasting it's going to cost
Yes.
more than original because
Yes.
of additional people.
And SBRC would have to approve that. But it takes board approval.
Anything else? Mrs. Straussky, please call our roll.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mr. Kazire?
Yes.
Mrs. Greiner?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Dr. Ozello?
Yes.
And the motion carries. Next up, open enrollment let's try that again. Open enrollment out, not on prior year's head count, modified supplemental amount request. Is there a motion?
I move for the district administration to authorize the open enrollment out not on prior year's head count request to the school budget review committee for a modified supplemental amount of $1,321,278 for open enrolled out students who were not included in the district's previous year certified enrollment count as presented.
Thank you.
I will second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the board?
It's another sort of forecasted move.
I'd like to invite Ms. Leeham up to the podium to explain this board doc.
Okay, this is an amount that we ask for. It's a modified supplemental amount request that we do, and it's for those open enrolled students out that not included on the prior year's count. So the open enrolled out in fall of 2024 who are not included in the district's 2023 head count, minus any enrollment increases. So this is an amount that we have to ask for through the SBRC as well. Any questions?
Thanks, Ms. Legan. Appreciate it. Any further discussion from the board? There is none. Mrs. Strauski, please call a roll.
Mr. Kozire?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mrs. Griner?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Dr. Rosello?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
And the motion carries. Last resolution for the evening, appointment to Pottawatomie County Assessors Conference Board.
I move that we appoint Ms. Teresa Hardiman to serve on the Assessors Conference Board for a one-year term starting 2024 through 2025.
Thank you.
I will second.
A motion and a second, Mrs. Griner. We appreciate that. Any discussion from the board regarding Ms. Hardiman's appointment?
We did have acknowledgement from Dr. Murillo that she'd been in contact with Ms. Hardiman and was excited and willing to fill that position. So it's not something that we're throwing on the the individual that's not here. It is accepted by her, so.
And Ms. Hardiman was also the representative last year as
Right.
well, so.
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion? Mrs. Strauski, please call her roll.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Dr. Rosello?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mrs. Griner?
Yes.
Mr. Kozire?
Yes.
And the motion carries. Resolutions are ended. Lastly, we have consent agenda. On our consent agenda this evening, we have TradeWorks contract and educational cooperative construction agreement, special education contract with Heartland Omaha Schools, special education contract with Kingsley Pearson Community Schools, special education contract with Sioux City Community School District, special education contract with Boys Town. Our personnel agenda, disbursements for December of 2024 and financials for November 2024. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve our consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion regarding the consent agenda items? There is none. Mrs. Strauski, please call our roll.
Dr. Rosello?
Yes.
Ms. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mrs. Griner?
Yes.
Mr. Kozire?
Yes.
And the motion carries. And that concludes our business for this evening. We are adjourned. Yeah, we had a 6:50.